Okay, good afternoon once again. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back after the long break. Today we're going to continue our discussion on the financial statements. So just a quick review of what we have discussed so far. We have looked at this particular income statement. So we learned about the concept of EBITDA. So EBITDA is generated by subtracting from net sales all your operating costs except depreciation and amortization. And we said that we single out depreciation and amortization because these are examples of non-cash expenses. Okay, so we separate them. This is one way to present your income statement. So if we deduct from your net sales your operating costs excluding depreciation and amortization, you arrive at what we call EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And then once you deduct depreciation and amortization from EBITDA, then you have what we call EBIT, or that's also known as your operating profit. Operating profit because you have already deducted from your revenues, from your sales, all your operating costs. From this operating profit or from your EBIT, we deduct the interest, which is a financing cost, to arrive at EBT, earnings before tax, and then we subtract the tax to arrive at net income after tax. And then we said last time that management, through the board of directors, will either decide whether to plow back to operations all the earnings or to distribute some of them to the shareholders in the form of dividends. So in this income statement, management distributed around 56% of their earnings to shareholders in the form of cash dividends. So this is cash payment to the shareholders. And then what's left is what we call addition to retained earnings. And this is what's flowed back to the operations of the business. And this finds itself in the retained earnings of the business. So if you take a look at this one, that 810 is actually your retained earnings of the previous year, 750, plus the addition of 60. Okay, so if we check 750 plus 60 addition to retained earnings, that gives us 810. Okay. All right. So this is your balance sheet. We have your total assets and your total liabilities and equity. We said that the assets of the business is very important because that will support the goals, the revenue goals of the business. Without the assets, then the company cannot churn out revenues. So assets are there. The company invests in assets so that they can support the revenue goals of the firm. Okay, and assets either come from financing through debt or financing through equity. Debt is by borrowings. So you have two types here, current liabilities and long-term liabilities. And then for the equity, you have your stock plus your retained earnings, which gives your total common equity. And you know from your accounting classes that your total assets should equal your total liabilities and equity. All right. So let's proceed. And then we need to construct the statement of cash flows. So I think this is where we stopped last time. Okay. Yeah, okay. So all right. Okay, i-chat ko na lang dito, no? So some of you are requesting to share the Excel file. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so let me just find. Oops, sorry. It's okay, I cannot. Okay, let me close this first. Sorry about that, class. So I have to close it before I can share it. So chat box. Okay. So I've closed it. So here. All right. Okay. So kindly inform me, Migs, if you got it. I have already shared it in the chat box. Do you prefer it here in the chat box or sa Canvas? Okay, thank you. All right, so let me open that again. Where is that? Here. Okay, so let's go back to our discussion. So we have the assets and we have the income statement. As to the question, what financial statements do we need in order to generate the statement of cash flows? I think we answered this last time, and we said we need the current income statement and the current balance sheet and the previous year balance sheet. So these are the three financial statements that we need in order to be able to construct the statement of cash flows. So based on what's given, is it possible for us to construct the statement of cash flows? Yes, because we have the current income statement, we have the current balance sheet, and we have the previous year's balance sheet. So we have the necessary financial statements in order to construct the statement of cash flows. And by way of review, what's a statement of cash flows? We said that it's a financial statement that tells us of the sources, okay, sources and uses. Sorry for the spelling. Sources and uses of cash, okay, as derived from operating, investing, and financing activities for a specific period of time. Okay, so that's what we want to investigate, and we want to construct a formal statement of cash flows. So how do we do it? It's best, from my experience, it's really best to come up with a pro forma template. Okay, so we start first with coming up with the elements of the cash flow statement and and defining whether those changes in the balance sheet are either operating, investing, financing. What we need to show is that in this pro forma, when we add all operating, investing, financing, cash flow changes, okay, here, this should be equal to the difference in cash flow, this one. Because cash decreased by 70,000, right? From 80 at the end of 2020, which is at the beginning of 2021, and then 10,000 at the end of 2021. That means there was a 70,000 decrease in the cash account of the company. So this total here, okay, and this one should agree. They should be equal. If it's not equal, then something's wrong with our totals. Now, of course, we're sure that this is negative 70. We're sure of that because we're sure of these cash balances, and just getting the difference will mean that there was a decrease in cash of 70,000. So when we plot our template and add the operating cash, investing, and financing, then it should it should give us the total also negative 70. Okay, so let me pull this down. Okay, then we're going to add this later and compare it with 70. Okay, so let's start. All right, so where do we start first? Okay, we always start first with the results of operations. And the results of operations can be obtained from your net income after tax, this one. Okay, so you can write here, we can write here net income after tax. and it's equal to, now question, where will net income after tax fall under? Will it fall under operating, investing, or financing? Kindly chat please your answers. O for operating, I for investing, and F for financing. Just type one letter and please indicate where do you think net income after tax will fall under. Okay, thank you, Raf. How about the others, please? I only have one answer here so far. Okay, so bring it on, guys. Please key in your answer and state whether net income after tax should fall under operating, investing, financing. All right, let me see the answers. Yeah, I think all of you answered O, and you're correct. So the net income after tax, which you will be getting from the balance from the income statement, should fall under operating. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, 137.1. All right. Okay, so that's the first item. Now, my question is net income after tax equivalent to cash? So again, I would like to solicit your answers based on what we have discussed so far. Just answer yes or no. Is this equivalent to cash? Can you chat yes or no? Yes, if you believe that net income after tax is equivalent to cash, and no otherwise. Let's see your answers. Okay, let me wait for the others to answer.
Ano ulit yung question, sir?
The question is, yung net income after tax, is that considered as equivalent to cash? Because we're constructing the statement of cash flows. And everything here should be equivalent to the movement of cash. So is net income after tax equal to cash? When we say 137.1, does this mean that this is cash, equivalent to cash? Okay, I only have two answers. Let's wait for the others. What do you think, class? Is the 137.1 there, the net income after tax, which we got from the income statement, is that equivalent to cash? Is it equal to cash? Okay, I'm seeing your answers. All right, so the answer is no, you're correct. It's not equivalent to cash. And why is that? Bakit hindi equivalent to cash yan? Anong dahilan, class? What's the reason why that is not equal to cash? Anyone? You may unmute yourself. Why is that not equal to cash? Okay, so let's see. We have an answer here. All right, Alexa, could you kindly share your answer to everyone? And Rafi is also raising his hand. Let's first wait. Okay, thank you, Alexa. So ito yung answer ni Alexa. There are non-cash expenses that are subtracted after. And Rafi, you were raising your hand.
Same answer, sir.
Same answer. Okay, thank you. All right, so you're correct, no? Net income after tax, that's not equivalent to cash. Okay, net income after tax is not equal to cash. Why? If you take a look at the nature of the net income after tax, it's arrived at by, of course, you start with your sales and then you subtract expenses. Okay, there may be other revenues aside from sales. So why do we say that it's not equivalent to cash? And as answered by Alexa, and also sino isang who raised his hand? Sorry, English ko makalimot. Sino kanina? Si Rafi. Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Yeah, they're correct, because in arriving at the net income after tax, number one, it's possible that there were non-cash revenues that were included in the sales or revenues. Okay, pwedeng may mga non-cash revenues na kasama sa sales. And then also, there are expenses that are non-cash that were deducted from sales. Okay, so yung net income after tax, this amount is really not equivalent to cash because of the inclusion of non-cash revenues or non-cash expenses. For our purposes here, we don't have any information about non-cash revenues. So we will not adjust our net income after tax and subtract non-cash revenues. However, there are non-cash expenses like depreciation and amortization. And as mentioned before, depreciation and amortization are deducted from your revenues to arrive at your net income after tax. Therefore, we have to adjust this. We have to adjust the net income after tax in order to convert this into a net cash flow by what do I do? What do we add or subtract to net income after tax? Kindly chat, please, to convert it into cash. What do we do, guys? If there's any adjustment, what is it that we need to adjust? And what do we do with that adjustment? Based on what I explained a while ago. Class? Do we need to add something? Do we need to subtract something? And if ever there's a need to add or subtract something, what is it that we need to add or subtract? Anyone, please? You may unmute yourself. Raise your hand, please, if you want to answer that question. Or type in the chat box. Yes,
You
Sherwin?
consider your net profit, sir.
Yes. So what's the answer? Yeah. How do we now convert the net income after tax to become cash flow? Sherwin? Okay.
Plus yung depreciation.
All right.
Net income plus depreciation
Yes.
or amortization.
Yeah. Why do we add that back? Why do we add that back? Kasi I already mentioned the reason why. Because ano nature ng depreciation and amortization? Is it a cash expense?
No.
No, it's not a cash expense. And we subtracted it, right? To arrive at the net income after tax. So therefore, to convert this to cash, dapat yung mga non-cash expense na binawas natin, i-add back natin. Or if there are non-cash revenues that we added, then they have to be subtracted. All right. So thank you, Sherwin. That's correct. Okay, and I'd like to acknowledge also the answers of Rafi and Alexa. Rafi, yung Alexa, yung tax. Tax is a cash expense, no? So okay lang yan. Walang problema sa pagbawas ng tax. Cash item yan. Okay, so rough naman, plus depreciation. All right, so plus depreciation and amortization lang. We don't include yung change in the working capital. Okay, all right. So thank you for your answers, and Sherwin, thank you for voicing that out. You're correct. We need to add back. No? So I'll put here add depreciation and shortcut ko na lang amortization. All right, and adding back depreciation and amortization is how much? It's 100. Here you go. All right. Yan. So in-add back na natin. No? We added back depreciation and amortization. And what's the rationale for that? What's the reason? We add back depreciation and amortization because when we arrived at the net income after tax, we subtracted them. Okay? We subtracted depreciation and amortization from the revenues. And we said that these are non-cash items. So in order to convert the net income after tax into a cash item, we need to add that back. All right, so let me just Control 1, put borders here so that we can see. Okay. All right. Just put place an outline so that we can easily see. Okay, so now these are what we need to get from the income statement. Okay, kaya kailangan natin yung income statement kasi doon manggagaling yung net income after tax at saka yung depreciation and amortization. And in case there are other non-cash items, we need to adjust yung net income after tax. It can be a non-cash revenue, It can be a non-cash expense, just like in this case, depreciation and amortization. All right, so let's now go down the balance sheet accounts. Let me just, okay, minimize this. All right. So what we need to do is to look at the changes in the balance sheets. Now there are actually two methods in constructing your statement of cash flows. You have your direct method and indirect method. The one that we're doing now is what we call indirect method. Okay, so indirect method itong ginagawa natin in class. Okay, so this is indirect method where we look at each of the accounts in the balance sheet and then determine whether that falls under the change in that account falls under operating, investing, and financing, and determine whether it's a source of cash or a use of cash. All right, let's start first with the accounts receivable muna tayo. Skip muna natin short-term investments. Accounts receivable. So what happened to accounts receivable? Did it increase or decrease? Kindly chat, please. I, if it increased, and D, if it decreased. That should be an easy question. I for increase and D for decrease. Okay. All right. So the answers are D. Okay. Now we have to be very careful, class, because this is 2020, huh? This is 2020, and this is 2021. Okay, so did receivables increase or decrease? Okay, thank you. There was an increase, no? Thank you. Okay, thank you for correcting your answers. Okay, kasi from 311, okay, naging 371 siya. Take note of the arrangement. Just be very careful with how the balance sheet is arranged. Okay, so you're correct, it's an increase. Now, how much was the increase? How much was the increase? So if we get the difference of this, so it increased by 59.8. Huh? So your accounts receivable, 59.8, okay? All right, 59.8 yung increase ng accounts receivable natin. Ngayon, the question is, lalagay natin dito, increase. I'm going to put here, increase in accounts receivable. So this is the indirect method, and we look at the effect in the cash flows by looking at the changes in your different accounts and then classifying it whether it's operating, investing, and financing. Okay, 59.8. Now, question next. I have two questions, and then I want you to write your answer, two letters. No? Two letters. The first question is, where will this account, this increase, fall? Will it fall under operating, investing, or financing? And then second, I want you to also write, will it be a source of cash or a use of cash? So two letters you're going to write, let's say O or I or F, and then comma, S and U. S stands for source of cash. U stands for use of cash. All right? So here you can see that accounts receivable increased. Diba? Ibig sabihin nakabenta sila. From 311.4 naging 371.2. So that led to an increase in sales. All right. So Rafi, thank you. Okay, Rafi, O, operating, and then source of cash. How about the others, guys? I want you to key in your answers also. Let's see. All right. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, OS. So which means it should fall under operating, and then it's a source of cash. Okay, so what's the implication if it's a source of cash? Pag source of cash siya, dapat positive nakalagay dito. Kapag use of cash, dapat negative. Okay, so increase in accounts receivable, source of cash, so dapat yung positive na amount, ano? Okay, so let me just subtract that. and let me just fix yung mga accounts natin. Control 1. Okay, number, let me just give it, let's make it 1 decimal place. Okay, and then let me put it brackets pag negative siya. Okay, so increase in accounts receivable, then we have this, 59.8. All right, next, inventories. Inventories climbed from 415 to 615. Let me write here, increase in inventories. So nadagdagan yung inventories, right? Ibig sabihin nun, ko-convert yan into raw materials and then magiging cash, no? Kasi mabebenta siya. So, question lang, again, OIF, SOU. Will this fall under operating, investing, financing? And then what will it be? A source of cash and a use of cash. Remember, pag nadagdagan si inventories, giging ano yan? Na ko-convert into finished goods na bebenta, no? Okay, your answer please. Will it fall under operating, investing, or financing? And will it be a source of cash or a use of cash? Okay, waiting for the others to answer. Only 2 have keyed in their responses. Let's wait for the others. You're 33, you're 34 here. I hope the others will also follow suit and key in their responses, their answers. Apat pa lang. Okay, let's wait for the others. So, ang question natin, operating ba yan? Yung galaw sa inventories, the movement in inventories? Will it form part of operating, investing, or financing? Okay, good. Bring it on, guys. Bring it on. Keep your answers coming.
Sir, yung sa increase in accounts receivable, negative ba talaga yan?
Okay. Rap, sandali Tinan ko lang itong mga answers dito. So let me address your question. All right. Operating and then source of cash. Okay. Sige. Raf, let me first answer this question.
Hindi ako, yes sir. Sure.
Then we go back. Sherwin ba yun? Okay. Kasi okay, Sherwin, thank you. So let me first address this question. So operating siya, no, si inventories. Okay. And it's a source of cash. Okay. Source of cash. So dapat positive, negative? Sherwin?
Positive.
Positive. So, ano dapat yung formula ko dito? Ano ima-minus ko?
615 minus 415.
Okay, very good. That's correct. 615 minus 415. Okay, yeah. So we now have two answers
Yes
here.
sir, yung sa accounts receivable.
Ano ba dapat sa accounts receivable?
Negative.
Operating. Okay. Source of cash to, no? Right? So dapat, ano siya, Sherwin? Equal to?
59.8.
So, anong formula gagamitin ko? Equal to?
Yung 37.2
Okay.
minus 311.4.
Okay, correct. Yan. Okay. Tama na?
Negative talaga siya, sir.
Hindi. Source of cash, di ba? So, dapat?
Nakaparenthesis, sir.
Ay, mali. Ano. So, dapat ano to?
37.2.
371.2
Yung kabila, sir.
minus
Hindi.
311. Okay? Tama na?
Hindi, sir. Baliktad.
Baliktad. Okay. Delete.
37.2.
371.2. Okay. But,
Yeah.
ayaw niya pumasok doon, no? Dito na lang, no? Tama? Tama na to?
Dato lang parenthesis, sir.
Ay, no. Dapat walang parenthesis. So, paano to? Ulit, Sherwin, ba't ganun?
37.2, sir.
371.2.
Yeah, yan.
Yan, okay?
Hindi yan. 311 yan, sir.
311 ba yun? Niloloko mo ako,
311
Sherwin.
yung
ah.
Sir, I think it's in the formatting that you did earlier.
Sa formatting. So, pero yung formula ko, ano dapat? Ano
Sir,
dapat
I think
i-minus
you
ko?
put the setting like the control 1. I think
Hindi,
it's
mali pinipindot mo, sir eh.
yeah.
311.4 eh.
Sir, I
Baliktad.
remember you formatted it with
Ano
like
ba?
a parenthesis earlier.
Is it in the formatting or in the formula?
In the formatting, sir. Like when you
Formatting?
control 1, I think.
Sige nga, control 1. Okay, anong gagawin ko sa control 1?
Sir, there, you did something there earlier.
Ito,
Like-
di ba? Number tapos 1 decimal place. So what's wrong
Yes, sir.
here? Format
I think-
lang naman yun eh.
Oh,
Di ba? It's
Hindi,
just a
sir.
format.
Subukan mo okay. Subukan mo okay, sir.
Ano okay?
I mean,
Okay,
gawin mo
okay,
ulit,
sige.
sir.
Okay, tapos, ano?
Equals.
Equal to,
Pindutin mo yung 37.2, sir.
37. What? Ayaw pumunta yung mouse ko dito.
Oh, di ba?
Okay.
Oh, ayun oh, G29 ginawa mo, sir. Kaya iba.
Bakit? Ano dapat?
Dapat F. Dapat F29
F29. Okay.
minus G29. Oh,
Okay. Sige, sorry. Is equal to, okay.
F29.
F29. Pero ayaw pumunta sa F eh.
Ayun nga eh. Kaya dapat F na lang, sir.
Ayan, F. So tama na to.
Walang parenthesis dapat.
So anong gagawin natin dito?
I-type
Alam
mo
nyo,
na lang, sir.
okay, alam nyo
I-type mo na
guys,
lang.
may artificial intelligence yung computer ko. So ayaw niya pumunta dito. Alam nyo kung bakit?
Kasi sasadya mo ata, sir.
Oo nga. Bakit? Kasi,
Baka hindi siya cash ano.
kasi tingnan natin sige, analyze nga natin. Okay. So 311.4, di ba? Tapos naging 371.2. Tama yung receivables natin. Tama, class? Tama ba? From 311.4, naging 371.2. Tama? Did receivables increase? Yes or no? Unmute na lang, class. Did receivables increase? Come on, class, answer.
Hindi
Yes
po.
or no?
Ay, opo.
From 311,
Receivable
naging
increase.
371. Accounts receivable, nag-increase ba siya? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sherwin, ikaw na muna sa mugat para sa class. 311.4 to 371.2 nag-increase siya. Okay.
Yep.
Ano nag-increase? Yung
Yung
sales.
receivable.
Oo, yung receivables which came from sales. Right?
Opo.
Question. Asan na yung cash?
Wala.
Na-collect na ba?
Hindi pa.
Hindi pa, di ba? Kung
Okay.
pinaduce ba yung item na yun, gumamit tayo ng cash?
Hindi.
Hindi.
oo.
Yung finished goods, di ba? Siyempre, gagamit ka ng cash ng labor, ng raw materials. So, gumamit tayo ng cash para ma-produce yung finished goods. Tapos, binenta natin. Cash sales ba to on account? Is it cash sales or on account?
Ay, account.
On account, di ba? Yes, on account siya. Therefore, plus, asa na yung pera? Nasa na ba yung, nasa sa atin na yung pera? O
Sir,
nandun pa
wala
sa
pa.
customer? Yes,
Wala
thank
pa
you.
po.
Yeah, thank you. Tama. No, wala pa. No, nasaan yung pera? Nasa customer. Therefore, is it a use of cash or a source of cash?
Source of cash.
Wala pa yung pera sa atin eh.
Gets.
Di ba? Ano? Class?
Okay.
Ano? Come on, answer me. Is it a source of cash or a use of cash? Okay, yan. Sabi, may mga answers kayo dito, no? Yan. Pag nag-answer kayo, class, paki-answer to everybody para makita na. So that others will see your answer. Okay, so credit account, sabi ni Alexa, credit account, Rafi, use of cash, Alexa, use of cash. Yes, correct. It's a use of cash. Nag-increase yung receivables, hindi pa naman natin nakokollect, di ba? O bakit source of cash yan? Ando doon pa yung cash sa customer, hindi pa natin nakokollect yun. Okay, therefore, sabi ko nga, may intelligence tong ano ko eh. May intelligence tong computer ko. Ayaw niyang pumunta doon sa sinasabi ni Sherwin. Punta daw sa F29 and then i-minus sa G29. Diba? Ulitin ko is equal to, at I'm trying to go to F29, ayaw, Sherwin. Ayaw eh. So pag pumupunta ako
Ayaw na din sa akin, sir eh.
ayaw na rin. Grabe pala yung yung contagious pala tong computer ko kahit virtual nakakahawa dun sa mga computers Okay, so that's the answer, class, no? It's not a source of cash, it's a use of cash. Okay? Kaya negative 'yan. Okay? Alright, so I hope that's clear, no? Okay, itong inventories naman. Tama ba to? Yung inventory level
Mali.
natin from 415 naging 615. Bakit mali, Sherwin? Source of cash ba yan or use of cash?
Use of cash.
Yes, bakit use of cash? Thank you, Alexa.
Same siya sa accounts receivable. Wala naman cash flow na nangyari.
Yeah, at
Or
saka
like,
bumili tayo ng inventories, di ba? Right?
Yep.
Nadagdagan yung inventory, so most probably we can assume that we bought inventory. So gumamit tayo ng cash para madagdagan yung inventories. Nag-invest tayo sa inventories. Therefore, this should also be equal to, so dapat use of cash to, 415 to 615. Yan. Okay. Klaro, guys. Klaro. So, dapat careful tayo dyan, ha? Dun sa pag-determine kung source of cash siya o use of cash. Kasi pag mamali tayo dito, remember, class, i-add natin yan. We're going to add this. And any error here will, of course, lead to an error in our totals. Okay, so we have to be very careful. Okay, so pwede magkamali tayo sa sa napunta natin sa operating or sa investing when dapat sa operating siya. Okay, and that might not affect the totals, pero mamamali yung classification natin. So ingat lang din tayo sa pag-classify kung O, I, or F siya. Okay, next. Total current assets. Wala ito, no? Kasi total lang yan, no? Composition yan nito. How about net plant and equipment? Where will this go? Again, answers, guys. OIF ba siya and SU? Come on. Give me your answers, please.
SU.
SU. Anong SU? OIF muna yung una eh.
Ay,
SU, source at saka use, nasabay. So ano siya? Operating, investing, financing. OI or F ba yan? And then is it an S or a U? 2 letters, please. Tingnan natin yung iba. How about the rest? Okay, financing, operating. Thank you, Sherwin. Thank you, Rafi. How about the others, guys? Okay, investing, use. Okay, Alexa, kindly share your answer to everyone, please. Share sa iba yung answers nyo. Okay, please share to everybody. Okay, si RB, OU. Okay, thank you, RB. Si John, OU then. All right. Okay, so we have different answers. Okay, the answer here is, itong net plant and equipment class, hindi siya operating, investing siya. So you invest in property, plant, and equipment. Okay? So hindi siya financing, hindi siya operating, but rather it's investing. So any change in your net plant and equipment will form part of your investing. And ano siya, source of cash or use of cash? Oo, tama yung answer mo, Alexa, kaso you share it with the others, no? Okay. So Alexa gave the answer, investing and then use of cash. So tama yon. So take note, net plant and equipment jumped from 870 to 1,000. So nag-increase siya ng 130, di ba? And syempre, pag nag-increase yung property, plant, and equipment, ibig sabihin nun, nag-invest yung company, bumili, no? Ng property, plant, and equipment. So this will fall under, let's put here, increase. Okay, copy ko na muna to para mabilis, no? Control C, and then Control V, and then I put here increase in. Okay, so nag-increase in net plant and equipment. And as I said, kapag property, plant, and equipment, pag yung nature nitong ng transaction, any change here will fall under investing. And then since nag-increase siya, ibig sabihin bumili yung company. So it's also a use of cash. 870 minus 1,000. Yan. Okay? So we're okay so far, no? All right. Then yung total assets, yan. Then let's now go to liabilities and equity. So first you have your accounts payable. Control C, oops, mali. Let me copy this. Control C. Lagay natin dito. Control V. And then there was an increase. F2. Nag-increase siya. Increase in accounts payable. From 30, naging 60 siya. All right. Same question, guys. O, I, or F, and then S or U. Come on. 2 letters again, please. Let's see. So will this fall under operating, invest, or financing? Okay. Kasi para, in a sense, parang trade payables o utang to. No? So ano ba siya? Operating, investing, financing, and then is it a source of cash or a use of cash? Okay. You have O, S, investing. All right. How about the others? How about the others, class? Okay, let's wait for the answers of the others. Okay, operating source. All right. So you're correct. Huh? You're correct, class. This is accounts payable kasi it's incurred in the ordinary course of business. Kasi company kailangan ng supplies, kailangan ng raw materials. So bibili siya sa supplier and then the company is given credit terms, kunyari. No? So nag-generate ng accounts payable. So this is incurred in the ordinary course of business, kaya operating siya. Okay, correct. And then is it a source of cash or a use of cash? So most of you answered source of cash, and that's correct. Kasi umutang tayo eh. No? Umutang tayo. So bumili tayo ng raw material, hindi pa natin binabayaran. So asan na yung cash? The cash is still with us. So in effect, parang ang net effect niya, source of cash, nasa atin pa yung cash. Hindi pa natin binabayaran. So this is a source of cash. So 60 minus 30 positive. All right. Okay. And then this one, how about yung accruals, class? Saan siya papasok? Operating, investing, financing. And then is it a source of cash or a use of cash? Again, what's your answer, class? OIF and then S or U. Okay, good. OS. All right. Now, okay, I think you're getting it, class. You're correct. It's OS. No? Again, yung accruals na yan, guys, it's incurred in the ordinary course of business. Kuryente. Okay, accrued utilities. So, na-incur na yan, pero hindi pa nabayaran. Nagastos na, nagamit na natin kuryente o yung tubig, yung utilities. Pero we haven't paid for it. So the cash is still with us, okay, and it's a debt, okay. So parang umutang tayo, no, ng pambayad dun sa kuryente. So this is also operating, is equal to, and it's a source of cash. Yan, source of cash. All right, so punta tayo ngayon dito sa isang, okay, let me just summarize. No? Okay, so that we don't have any difficulty with determining whether it should be a source of cash or a use of cash, let me draw here some pointers. No? Oops. So let's take a look at the assets. No? Assets on one side, and then liabilities and equity on the other side. Okay, so what's the rule that we should follow? When assets increase, pag tumaas yung assets, class, it's a use of cash. Okay, in fact, itong rule lang kailangan natin tandaan. Yan lang. Kasi if you know this rule, you can already construct the others. Therefore, sa assets, pag bumaba si assets, then that's a source of cash. Property, plant, and equipment, bumaba. So, ano nangyari? Most probably, nag-dispose sila. nagbenta sila ng property, plant, and equipment. Siguro yung luma. Okay? And then, ito naman liabilities and equity. Pag nag-increase siya, okay, so take it from the assets. Sa assets, use of cash. Sa liabilities, source of cash. Opposite siya. Okay, and therefore, pag nabawasan yung liabilities, ibig sabihin, nagbayad tayo. Okay, for example, notes payable from 100 naging 60. Ibig sabihin, nagbayad tayo ng notes payable natin. So this will be a use of cash. Okay, so ito lang. Ito lang kailangan natin tandaan. Ito. And then you can already set this up. And then it will now be easy for us to determine kung source of cash yung ano natin, yung change or use of cash. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, so saan na tayo? Let me increase the size. All right, how about this one? So yung total current liabilities, hindi kasama yan. Ito pala, notes payable. So nag-increase in notes payable. So where will that fall under, class? Sige nga, again, answer. Operating, investing, financing, and then source of cash or use of cash. Yung source or use, alam nyo na yan, no? Ang question na lang, saan papasok yung notes payable? Should it fall under operating or investing or financing? Okay, isa pa lang sumasagot. Let's wait for the others. Yung 2 letters ulit. Operating, investing, financing, and source and use. Of course, yung source and use, I'm sure 100% na tama kayo doon. Kasi tumaas yung notes payable. But how about the others, class? I haven't seen the others respond to the query. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Let's see. Your answers are OS, 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 OS. Okay. Good. Thank you. All right. So it's OS, no? So it's equal to, nag-increase siya. So 110 minus 60. All right. So it's not O, guys. It's financing. Kasi any interest-bearing account, class, notes payable is interest-bearing. Hindi siya operating kasi hindi naman kontrolado ng operating yan. Diba? Notes payable is a function of finance kasi interest-bearing yan. So, financing activity yan. And madadagdagan yung financing natin kasi nag-increase yung notes payable natin. Okay, I hope that's clear, class? All right, next. Long-term bonds, ganun din. Si long-term bonds, utang din to. So this will fall under financing. And there was an increase. So, copyin ko lang ito. Long-term bonds, I'll copy this. Control C. Put it here, Control V. And then F2, increase. Increase in long-term bonds. Okay, so nag-increase in long-term bonds. Therefore, since it's a liability, it will be a source of cash and it will fall under financing. Kasi interest-bearing yan. Minus 580. There. Okay. Source of cash, no? 170. Kasi nag-increase yung liability natin. Okay. All right. So that takes care of the long-term debt. Total debt, hindi. Kasi total lang yan ng total current at saka yung long-term debt. And then common stock. No? Ito hindi naman siya nag-change. Walang issuance ng common stock. But if it does, kunyari meron yan, then you have to bring that to financing din. Pag nagbago to, no? Kunyari nag-increase siya from 130 naging 150, then that should be a source of cash. Okay? Kasi nadagdagan yung financing from the common stock and it should fall under financing activity. Okay, si retained earnings hindi rin kasama yan kasi taken care of yan by the net income after tax. Okay? Ito, nakalink yan sa net income after tax. Alright, so yung mga totals hindi kasama. Alright, so therefore, okay na tayo, no? May isa pa pala. Sa assets ito. Si short-term investments. Okay, so what happened to short-term investments? Control C. Asan na si short-term investments? Ito. Control V. There was an increase. Okay, so asset to, nag-increase. Therefore, ano siya, class? Nag-increase si asset. Therefore, this is a use of cash. No? And then, where will this fall under? Si short-term investment. So, pakisabi nga kung OIF to. Okay, short-term investment. Okay, correct. Short-term investment will fall under financing kasi interest-bearing to. No? Okay, so this will fall under financing. Lahat ng interest-bearing accounts. So this is equal to 3.6 minus 3.8. Ibig sabihin, class, gumamit ng the company bought, let's say, treasury bills, which is a short-term investment or marketable securities. Okay? Yung cash nila, pinambili nila ng Kaya nga it's a use of cash ng marketable securities or short-term investment. Okay, so we're done, guys. We're done with the activities. So we can now add this is equal to sum ng mga changes in your cash through the changes in the accounts. All right. 17.3, and then I'll copy this to the right. Okay, so from the operating activities, so operating activities was able to provide a cash flow of 17.3. Investing activities used ito provided, no? So which is to say that provided. So operating activities provided a cash flow of 17.3, while investing activities used, okay, used a total of 130, and then si financing naman provided din. Control C, Control D. Ito yung language na gagamitin sa cash flow. Provided or used or dalawa lang naman, either provided or used. So if I add this sum, okay. All right, 107.1, it's not the same as negative 70. Okay, so used sum, we have a problem. Now, is our cash, net cash from operating, investing, financing, overstated or understated? Paki-type nga, class. Is our cash from operating, investing, financing, which is 107.1, is it overstated or understated? Can you chat, please? Okay, let me see. Yeah, thank you, Sherwin. It's overstated, no? Overstated kasi dapat negative 70 lang yan. Pero we're having 107.1. So sobra-sobra tayo ng 177.1. Because if I subtract this minus what it should be, I'm getting 177.1. Overstated tayo. So ibig sabihin, meron pa dapat tayong ibabawas sa mga cash flow natin, no? All right, correct, overstated. Thank you for your answers. Overstated siya. So sobra-sobra tayo ng 177. Sobra tayo ng 177.1. Dapat babawasan natin to ng 177.1. Pagbawasan natin ng 177.1, lahat to, no, it will become negative 7. All right? Kasi 107.1 minus 177.1 will give us negative 70. Okay, so what else, class? Are there other items in the balance sheet that we did not consider, that we did not incorporate dun sa template natin? Okay, si cash hindi naman kasama yan kasi ito nga ini-investigate natin. Si short-term investment, andito naman siya. Tama ba to? Financing, yes, it's a use of cash kasi nag-increase. Remember, in general rule natin, when assets increase, okay, asan na yun? Okay, when assets increase, that indicates a use of cash. On the other hand, when assets decrease, source of cash yun. So opposite sa liabilities and equity. Nag-increase si liabilities and equity, source of cash yan. Nabawasan si liabilities and equity, use of cash. Alright, so balikan natin to. Tingnan natin kung may nakalimutan tayo. No? Tsaka kung may
Sir, yung retained earnings, di ba?
retained
tsaka common
earnings, hindi siya. Yung retained earnings hindi.
Bakit, sir? Ano yung anong pa sila?
Okay,
Accounts.
kasi yung retained earnings, actually, record yan ng net income after tax. No? Okay, it's a record of the net income after tax since the inception. So lahat ng mga net income after tax na pupunta dun sa retained earnings. Okay? So pero malapit na, meron pang iba na hindi pa natin nare-record dito. So yung retained earnings hindi doon. Okay, clue. It's not in the balance sheet class. It's not in the balance sheet but it's in the income statement. Yung lahat ng balance sheet natin, yung common stock, okay, kung may change to, dapat isasali natin, no? Pero wala naman change yung common stock, no? 130, 130, so walang movement ng cash dyan. If for example, from 130, this became 150, ibig sabihin nag-issue ng bagong shares of stock, ibig sabihin nun, may pumasok na pera sa company. So since liability and equity to, kung nag-increase siya, therefore, it should be a source of cash. Pero hindi eh. Pareho lang, 130. So let's see. Right? EBITDA. Okay. Alexa, kindly share your answer to everyone, please. Para makita ng iba yung answer mo. Alright, the EBITDA. What about the EBITDA, Alexa? What about the EBITDA? Okay, so instead of you answering that, let me pose this question. No? Propose ko yung question na to. What did we pick up from the income statement? Ano yung kinuha natin na pinasok natin dito sa template? Di ba yung net income after tax? Okay. So yung net income after tax, lahat ba ng mga kasama sa kanya before arriving at the net income after tax, were all they considered? Yes or no, class? So yung EBITDA, yung sales, lahat ng cost, interest expense, lahat ba yan na-consider nung kinapin natin yung net income after tax? Answer please, yes or no? Answer please, guys. When we copied the net income after tax dun sa template natin ng cash flow statement, did that consider all the other amounts there dun sa
Yes.
Yes, oo. In fact, nag-adjust pa nga tayo, no? You're correct. Sherwin, tama, no? Yes. Tama 'yon. So kahit yung EBITDA, lahat ng mga accounts, lahat ng mga sinali natin before the net income after tax, whether it be costs, whether it be interest, whether it be tax, lahat yan incorporated na dito. Naka-incorporate na yan sa net income after tax. In fact, we had to adjust the net income after tax and add back depreciation and amortization kasi nga si depreciation and amortization hindi yan cash expense. So that we will be converting your net income after tax to a cash amount. No? We had to add back any expense that are non-cash. And in this case, it happens to be depreciation and amortization. So we added it back. If there was the presence of a non-cash revenues, then dapat ima-minus natin yun. Kaso wala naman tayong non-cash revenues. Alright? So it's not EBITDA. It's not even any item before the net income after tax. Kasi lahat ng mga yun na-consider na. So that's my clue. Okay? Let me repeat that statement. It's not even any item before the net income after tax. Kasi when we copied the net income after tax, we took into consideration all the items before the net income after tax. Lahat na yun na-factor na dun sa net income after tax except for depreciation and amortization which we added back. Kasi non-cash expense yan. So ano pa? Ano pa kaya sa income statement ang hindi natin na-account na dapat andi dito? which involves cash. Cash yan, guys. So hindi pa natin nasasama yon. Kaya nga medyo mali yung ano natin. Hindi siya nagtatali dun sa negative 70. Anyone? Okay, take a look at the income statement. And may dalawang clues na nga ako eh. Take a look at the income statement and don't bother yourself with items before the net income after tax. So that's a very powerful clue. Napaka-powerful yung clue na yan. All right. So, Micaela, paki-share yung answer mo to the class, please. Okay, Micaela, please share your answer. Okay. Why common dividends? What's about common dividends, Micaela? Retained earnings hindi, no? Yung addition to retained earnings, pumasok yan dun sa ano sa yung part of that pumasok na dun sa retained earnings, no? Yung addition to retained earnings. Yung common dividends, tama. Okay, sa common dividends ba, class, gumamit tayo ng cash? Yes or no, please? Yes
Hindi.
or no? Oops, cash dividends yan, ha? So nag-issue ng pera yung company sa mga shareholders. So if you're invested, for example, in a blue chip, kunyari Jollibee or Globe, itong mga ano na to, itong mga blue chip companies na to, they issue regularly dividends. Iba quarterly, iba semi-annual, iba yearly. So they distribute dividends to the shareholders. So makakatanggap ka ng note na meron kang through your broker na nakatanggap ka ng cash dividends. Okay? So regularly ginagawa nila yan. They return cash. So this is cash, guys. Cash ano yan? Cash outlay yan. So it's a use of cash. Pero take a look at our pro forma cash flow statement. Andiyan na ba yun? Yung dividends. Have we accounted for the dividends that was distributed by the company? Yes or no? Take a look at our pro forma. Do we have anything here that accounts for the dividends? Class? Yes or no, please? Okay. Thank you, Raf. Yeah. Thank you, Micaela. The answer is no. Wala, no? Wala. Hindi pa accounted yung ano dito. Cash yan. Okay? So that's one thing here that we need to adjust. So ilagay na lang natin dito sa dulo, no? Dito, let's put here, okay? Let's put here payment of dividends. Payment of dividends. And this will fall under financing. Okay, this will fall under financing. And is it a source of cash or a use of cash? Sinabi ko na kanina na use of cash yan. Kasi magbabayad yung company ng dividends sa shareholders. So gagawin nating negative to kasi yung dividends dito hindi naka-negative, no? Negative 77.1. There you go. All right. Okay. Payment of dividend 77.1. So mababago si financing. All right. So what happened now? Pareho pa rin si si operating, nag-provide siya ng 17.3. Si investing pareho pa rin, gumamit siya ng cash 130. Usually ganun talaga pag investing kasi talagang naglalabas ka ng pera to invest in a capital asset usually. And then si financing nag-provide siya ng cash na 142.7. Okay, pero ang total 30. So, overstated pa rin tayo. Thank you, Rat. We're overstated. So by how much? So 30 minus negative 70, we are overstated by 100. Okay, so saan kaya yan? Sobra tayo ng 100. May makikita ba tayo dyan sa ano? Ayan, Ralph, ayan, thank you. It's overstated, no? 30 yung lumalabas na total, pero dapat negative 70 siya. If we subtract 30 to negative 70, you have 100. Overstated tayo ng 100. So anything here that resembles 100 that we should consider, class? Okay, meron ba dyan na pareho yun sa 100 ah?
Sa depreciation, amortization.
Okay, yun. Diba? Si depreciation and amortization, dinagdag kasi natin, 100. Diba? So what will happen if we reduce this? So tanggalin natin siya, no? Tanggalin natin siya. Ano nangyari sa total cash flow natin? 70.
Nag-balance.
Nag-balance na. Okay? So good. Yan na, nag-balance na tayo. 70, 70 na. Okay, so that now addresses that question. Okay, so review natin ulit ha. So we're using here the indirect method, no? And we said that the statement of cash flows tells us of the sources and the uses of cash from operating, investing, financing. Okay, so where do we start? Okay, so tinan muna natin itong mga iba, no? Yung mga balance sheet accounts natin, si short-term investments, that will fall under financing. Nag-increase siya, therefore, use of cash. Accounts receivable, inventories, that will form part of operating. Both increased, so since they are assets, use of cash yan. Okay, si net plant and equipment will fall under investing. Nag-increase siya ng 130, use of cash. All right, the others, you have your accounts payable and accruals. These are both operating. And then there was an increase 30 to 60, 130 to 40. Ang liabilities pag nag-increase, source of cash yan, source of cash. Si notes payable will fall under financing kasi interest bearing siya. Notes payable. Okay? So, nag-increase si notes payable, liability siya. Pag nag-increase ang liability, source of cash. Just like increase in long-term bonds, liability din siya, nag-increase ng 170, source of cash siya. Okay? Payment of dividends also. Hindi kasi natin na-consider dito yan, no? Cash, ano yan? Cash outlay yan. Okay. So, how much? 77.1. Therefore, okay, therefore, minus natin siya. Use of cash. Okay. And then, yung simula natin, we get it from net income after tax. Okay, here, net income after tax. This one, we copied it. All right. So, question. Yung net income after tax ba, is it equal to cash? Answer, guys. Is it equal to cash? You answered that a while ago. No, it's not equal to cash. Therefore, hindi pa pwede ito. Kailangan i-adjust natin yan. Kasi, hindi siya equal to cash. It should be cash. Dapat mo convert natin sa cash yan. So, how did we arrive at the net income after tax? We subtracted from sales yung mga expenses. May mga dinagdag ba tayo dito na non-cash revenues? O may sinabtract ba tayo na non-cash expense? Meron. Ano yon, class? Ano yon? Ano yung binawas natin dito to arrive at the net income after tax na non-cash siya? So dapat i-add back natin yun kasi minus natin. Non-cash yun. Ano yun, class?
Depreciation.
Yes? Depreciation and amortization. So anong gagawin natin dito? Is equal to, no? So dapat add o subtract. Add natin. Kasi binawas natin siya. Hindi dapat ibabawas yan kasi kung cash lang titingnan natin, non-cash expense yan. So add back depreciation. Alright? Alright. So tama na yung ano natin. Si net cash natin, net income after tax, na-convert na natin siya into cash. Okay? So clear, class? Okay. Any questions?
Pababa nga, sir, konti.
Okay, pababa.
Sir, is it-
Konti lang.
is it balance on the bottom, sir?
Bakit? Yan. Konti pa?
Yes, sir.
Opo.
Scroll.
Yan.
Sir, if we added it back
Yan.
earlier, it was still overstated. There, sir. It's okay.
Naging overstated tayo, no? Na magkano?
By 100, sir.
100. Okay, tingnan natin, guys, ang template natin. Ano ba dito ang, ano kaya yun, ano? Yung 100 na yun, overstated tayo. Ibig sabihin, magbabawas tayo. What is it, guys, here in the template? Can you identify 100 here? Or 250? Hindi naman tong notes payable. Tama naman to eh. Kasi nag-increase siya ng ano. So ano siya, class? Yes, correct, no? Depreciation and amortization. So ibig sabihin, overstated to, no? Ng 100. Okay. If we remove this, guys, what will happen? Yung net natin, tama na, di ba? So wala nang ano, discrepancy. Alright? So we're good. So review natin ulit to, no? sabi natin, yung statement of cash flows, it's two methods, direct at saka indirect. No? Here, we're using the indirect method kasi we're looking at the cash effect on the individual accounts. No? So, ang tawag dyan, indirect method. Yung direct method, ibang method yun and mas mahirap siya. For our purposes, the indirect method is a lot easier. Okay, so sabi natin, we determine the sources of and uses of cash from operating, investing, financing. Okay, so we take a look at all the accounts, balance sheet, and the income statements. So simula muna tayo sa balance sheet. Tama ba to? Yung increase in short-term investments, tama siya, class? Saan siya papasok? Okay, may tanong dito, Migs. Sagutin ko muna yung kay Migs, no? Saan daw? Migs, paki-share yung question mo to everyone, please. Para alam ng iba kung ano yung sinasagot ko na question. Migs, kindly share your question to everyone. Okay. So there's a question here. How did we get the dividends? Okay. Si dividends, guys, dito sa income statement siya. Ito. No? Ito. Common dividends. So the company declared dividends and 77.1 out of the net income of 137.1 was distributed to the shareholders. Okay? So cash to. Cash na binayad ng company dun sa mga shareholders. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Migs. All right? So negative din siya. Take note, negative yan kasi naglabas ng cash yung company. Okay, I think Rafi has a question. Rafi, you raise your hand, please.
Hi, sir. Sir, just to clarify, why did we add depreciation and amortization in the first place, even though, like, at the end, we're gonna remove it?
Oh, that's a good question, no? So, remove natin, di ba? Tapos nag-balance siya, tama? Tama
Yes,
ba?
sir.
Okay. And then let's review, guys, yung ano natin. Let's review. Lahat ng accounts na papasok dapat dito sa statement of cash flows. Lahat dapat yan, yung may kinalaman sa cash, yung movement sa cash. Okay, short-term investment, nag-increase. May effect ba yan sa cash? Yes. It's an asset account, nag-increase yung asset. So, it's a use of cash. Kaya nga dito, negative 0.2. So, this is a cash effect, no? Yung increase ng asset na to. Sino pa? Accounts receivable, nag-increase din. Papasok siya sa operating. So, since it increased, it's a use of cash. Kaya, mababawasan yung cash natin. Ganon din si inventories. Operating siya, nag-increase, asset siya, therefore, use of cash. And we went through all of this, di ba, a while ago. Si increase, si net plant and equipment, papasok siya sa investing. It also increased. This is an asset. So this is a use of cash. For liabilities and equity, pag nag-increase yan, source of cash yan. 30 to 60 nag-increase. Accounts payable, accruals, they're all operating. So pareho sila nag-increase, sources of cash. Notes payable, interest-bearing yan, papasok yan sa financing. Okay, nag-increase din siya. Okay, source of cash din. Long-term bonds, nag-increase din. May interest yan, yung bonds. No? So papasok siya sa financing. Nag-increase siya, therefore, liability yan, source of cash. Sabi ko, if there was a change in your common stock, papasok din dito yan sa financing. Okay, kung tumaas yan, so it's a liability, it's an equity, therefore magiging source of cash yan. Kung bumaba siya, magiging use of cash. All right? Retained earnings, hindi na ano yan kasi it's taken into consideration. Yung retained earnings kasi, that will include all the other years. Diba? And we're not looking at the statement of cash flows for all the years. We're just looking at the statement of cash flow for 2021. Okay, so hindi natin sinasama si retained earnings kasi this will include yung income, net income dun sa 2016, 2017, 2018, etc. Nare-retain siya, no? So, it will be wrong if we include that. We do not take that into account. Kasi sabi ko nga, kasama na yan sa net income after tax. A portion of your net income after tax will go to retained earnings. Right? And then, kaya nga sabi natin, inad natin yung dividends. No? It will be subtracted. Okay? So, anong nangyari dito? Nag-balance siya. Pero, sabi nga ni Rafi, take a look at depreciation and amortization. Now, ang sabi natin, lahat ng mga to dapat cash. Dapat equivalent to cash. So, babalik ako sa question ko. is net income after tax is equal to cash? Answer is a resounding no. Okay, lalakihan ko pa, a big no yan. Okay, hindi na nagkasya dito, no? So ang net income after tax is not equivalent to cash. So dapat i-convert natin to. Okay? Paano natin siya i-convert? Okay, thank you, Alexa. Yan, no? Paano natin siya i-convert? Kung may mga non-cash revenues na inad natin to arrive at the net income after tax, you have to deduct that. Ile-less natin yun. Kung may mga non-cash expenses na ginamit natin to arrive at the net income after tax, then we have to reverse the process. Kasi minus natin yung expense na yun, kailangan i-add back natin siya. That's why we had to add back depreciation and amortization. And this is equal to 100. There. Okay? All right. So okay na tayo dito. Tama na to. Kasi cash item na to. All right. So ano nangyari, class? Are we okay? Hello?
Sir, so the end result
Yes.
is that we're still over.
Ayaw nga, no? Overstated pa rin tayo, no? How much is the overstatement? Class. How much is the overstatement? 30 tayo, overstated tayo, no? 30, tapos dapat negative 70. Ilan yung overstatement? 100. Anything here in the template na dapat hindi kasama? Na 100 siya? Anything here, class? Yeah, depreciation and amortization. So dapat tatanggalin natin to. Hindi na notice, class. What do you notice?
Sir,
Ulit-ulit lang, sir.
I think the depreciation and amortization is
Mabalik-balik.
Ang sarap nyo talaga biruin yung class. Wala. Inaano ko lang kayo, class. I'm just playing around with you. So, ibabalik natin yan, no? Kasi dapat nandiyan yan. So, anong message ko sa inyo? Hindi yan. Hindi yan yung i-adjust natin. Huwag natin gagalawin yan kasi tama na yun eh. Okay? This is correct already. Okay? So, do not touch this kasi pag inano mo yan, ginalaw mo yan, mag-i-equal nga siya. Pero mali naman yung statement of cash flows natin kasi net income after tax is not cash. So, we have to adjust this. And sabi nga natin, ano yung adjustment? Itong depreciation and amortization na ito. Add back natin yan. Okay, so babalik na naman tayo sa same problem natin. Overstated tayo ng 100. So abangan guys ang susunod na kabanata. Kasi next meeting, alamin natin. Wala na, time na eh, di ba? Alam nga naman, gusto mag-extend tayo ng 1 hour?
Pero 30 minutes tayo doon kakabalik, sir.
O at least driving home the point yun, di ba? So sa exam nyo, baka next week, sana, hindi kayo magkakamali na ganyan, ha? Alright. Okay. Okay, si Dardan na disconnect. Okay, sige. Thank you, Ethan. Alright, so, hindi pa natin tapos to, no? So next meeting, we're going to finish this and then also the other, tatapusin natin tong worksheet na to. So dapat matapos natin to next meeting. Yan ang target natin. Next Friday. Alright? So when we meet next Friday, pakibukas na to ha. Dapat naka-ready na kayo, abang na kayo. O kaya, siguro i-research nyo, paano kaya yun, no? Paano kaya natin matatama ito? Meron tayong overstatement na 100. And depreciation dito 100, no? Pero, pag tinanggal naman, mamamali din. Kasi dapat andiyan talaga yan, class. This is what we call untouchable. Untouchable yan, ha? Huwag natin gagalawin yan. Diyan talaga nagsisimula at saka we have to adjust our net income after tax by adding depreciation and amortization. All right? Okay, so abangan guys ang susunod na kabanata. Next meeting, we're going to finish this. Okay, I hope you learned something today. Did you learn something today, class? Or if